figure we should just kind of get into it from the start. This past week, you have three defensive starters, who are making comments about, preparation needs to be better. Things aren't translating from meetings to practice to the game field. I'm talking about Kenny Moore, Zaire Franklin, Julian Blackman. You've been around this game a long time, been in a lot of different situations. How do you kind of, respond to comments like that? And what do you do as a leader to kind of work through them?
Well, I mean, I look at it. I'm always me personally. A belief is hold people in high regard, give strength to those in need, and that I think goes through our organization. And I think with our players, there's venomous comments, and then there's comments that are uncomfortable. And sometimes, when there's discomfort, it can take you to better places. And I know Kenny Moore. Been around him for years now and have great trust in him and appreciate him as a teammate. And what you saw, Kenny will address players. He holds them accountable. He loves his teammates. He loves this organization. But he also knows that to go where you want to go, at times there's discomfort. And, when you're uncomfortable and you have great spirit, there's a chance for great growth. And he's addressed some things with our players and brought some things up. And I think that's what he believes in. Sometimes in order for us to go, there's going to be challenging conversations and there's going to be uncomfortable situations. But through that, it can take us to better places. So he immediately came in and talked to me and we had a visit. And I said, Kenny, just stand by what you said. You believe it. And, it might be enough discomfort that it takes us to a better place and then we move on. And, we had good conversations. I said, now, there's ways to go about doing it, but I don't think he crossed the line.
Just to kind of build on that, I mean, you guys have played a lot better defense over the past, month or so. So I guess first of all, how do you look at like what has turned this around so far? And then when you have, some of those comments, even when you guys are playing better, is that I guess an idea of like you have another gear that you guys can unlock?
Sure. I think the way I look at it, Nate, is this. I've always said that you want to try to play your best football in November. That's very important to us, and we work through it. And I think we have gotten better in a number of areas. In November, the last, two quarterback ratings to takeaways to sacks to tackle for losses, the scoring points in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter are all much better than they were, but the fourth quarter is not. The fourth quarter, we've given up more points than we have in years past. And that's the part now that we got to focus on. That's not our standard. It's not good enough. And so now it's just to direct our unit's attention to that we have to be better in the fourth quarter than the number of points that we're giving up.
Joel.
Gus, do you think some of the fourth quarter stuff is just how many plays you guys have faced? It's like 100. It's like 100 more than the offense at this point in the season.
Right. Yeah. I think you look at, I think Kent asked last week, do you look at stats? Do you look at, when you're putting together? And those are some things that we look at. And you're right, Joel. It's been 100 and some plays more than what the average defense is playing in the league. So that's another almost a game and a half. So I think we look at that part and just how do we take care of our players. But, I think the good defenses, the really good defense, man, they love the opportunity to go out there and play. And, we have to continue to build that mindset that, we get another opportunity to go out there. It's like sudden change. But you have to build that mentality to keep going out there and look at it as another opportunity to get the ball back for our offense.
James.
Gus, you've been in situations, obviously, as DC head coach, where things aren't going well, and you have to kind of stand there and believe what you believe and kind of rally the troops. So, how have you seen Shane just navigate this? Perhaps, I mean, what could be just one of the more pivotal moments of his career?
Sure. I think we mentioned this 2 weeks ago, right? Consistency breeds credibility. And I think what you can count on from Shane is Shane will challenge you. He will have you look at different things, look at different areas, ways we can improve. But he's very consistent when you come in the building. And when you have that consistency, it gives you the best chance of getting better. So that's what I appreciate about him. I know our players appreciate about that. When you are together and going after a common task, you have to have coaches that listen And, there's open communication, and he's been all that and then some with our players and our coaching staff.
And one follow up, how much does bluntness just help? Like I talk to players all the time about Shane. They're like, well, you never have to guess what he's thinking. I guess we do a little bit, but the players are always like, no, like what you see is what you get, what he says of you, he expects from you. So how have you seen that kind of play out?
I think that's very true. I mean, you're not gonna sugarcoat it. He's gonna come in. Accountability is a big important factor with Shane, and that's what To Tell the Truth Monday is. The accountability issue. This isn't good enough. I'll tell you why we're not as successful as we need to be, and he'll point it out and lay it out for the whole team and the coaching staff to see, and it gives us great direction where we have to move on from that point on.
Chap.
That's a great transition with the team meeting and the accountability and all that. And what you said, Kenny, how he's blunt or honest, whatever the word you wanted to use. But when you get into defensive meetings, and I know you're not going to share what goes on, but is it, hey, you player A aren't doing this, you player C aren't doing this? Does it get personal in these meetings just so that there is accountability?
It's kind of like this, Chappie. I would say, if you came into our meetings, there's the good, right? Hey, let's continue to do these good things. We're building on this. Hey, we're getting takeaways. Continue that mindset of getting the ball. And then there's the tough parts, right? Hey, we're giving up these explosive plays, and the explosive plays, sometimes teams or units will break up and the position coaches handle it. We just choose to handle it all together as one. We're going to point out the explosive plays, the bad plays, and sometimes it's not, for example, not to personalize it. And this sometimes is a philosophy. It's like, example would be, hey, Zaire Franklin, I love you, but 44 is not good enough right here. And I think that takes the personalization out of it. I love Zaire Franklin. 44, we need better from you. 96, we need better from you right here. This isn't good enough, 23. We know there's a standard, and that's it. And then when you walk out of the meeting, hey, Kenny, let's go get better. I think that's part of it when you personalize it like that, because you want to make sure there's a difference between a challenge and attack. A challenge is about getting it right, and attack about who's right. And I think when you personalize it, sometimes it can be more of an attack, and you don't get much better from that. So we try to keep it in that kind of a mindset.
And along that line, is it really you doing that in the positions as opposed to Kenny Moore saying, hey, look, this guy just screwed up royally. What's going on?
It's a great question. I would say the unit has been like that. They'll call each other out, but I've seen it more this year. I've seen it more this year. Yeah, I've seen it more individually, where guys will either quietly go up to a person and say, we need better. I've seen that. I've seen it happen in a position meeting when I've been in the position meeting, and I've seen it in a unit meeting. So I think there's peer-to-peer accountability. There's coach accountability. You're the strongest when it's peer-to-peer. And I think that's somewhat what Kenny was doing, was more the peer-to-peer accountability. And in his mindset, maybe he's done it face to face, maybe he's done it in the unit meeting, and it was an opportunity to demonstrate to the team, I'll say it to your face, or I'll say it, on a Sunday after a game. And as long as the unit takes it more as a challenge, and they know where Kenny's heart is, and I believe that's how they're going to take it. And in conversations with Kenny, that's where it was coming from.
Thanks, guys.
And then we have our last two, Joel and then Kent.
Gus, I know Aaron Rodgers doesn't quite look like the Aaron Rodgers we think of, but with Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, is this one of those weeks where you just talk about with your defense, but like the capabilities these guys still have, even if it's not all there on tape?
Yeah, I would say, Joel, when you watch tape, you do see it there. I mean, they moved the ball on Arizona. They didn't do real good in the red zone area at times, but they were moving the ball, and their offense is playing better. They're more efficient, and they just just like anybody else, they're looking to catch rhythm. So we see a lot of the same quality Aaron's had in his past. He can make the throws, good at the line of scrimmage, checking in and out, and the weapons outside. Especially now with Devontae, makes it even more challenging. So there's a lot of similarities, a lot of plays where you could put together, and you would look at those plays after watching them and say, boy, there's not much of a difference. So, I think they're looking to try to catch a rhythm just like we are.
And then last one, Kent.
Hey, Gus, when the offense is turning the ball over like they did this past Sunday, is your defense more risk tolerant in trying to go get the ball back? Do you go and ball hawk a little bit more as a defense when the offense is flipping it?
I mean, there's conversations, about, hey, let's get one back. Let's get one back. Hey, we got to match their defense and then some. They just got one. We got to be better than that. And let's go do our stuff and let's go after the ball. My hopes is their ball hawk defense every play, regardless of the situation. But to answer your question, there are conversations about, hey, we need to get this one back. But it's not any special call or, hey, we're going to change it. I do think we've changed our demeanor a little bit in the fourth quarter, trying to get more opportunities to get the ball, maybe with play calls, a little bit more riskier, maybe to, get another possession for the offense. And it seems to come to us better when we just go out there and play the call that's called with the mindset that, we tell them in the beginning, every call we make is designed to get the ball back. And we try to build that mindset. So, but there is conversations about getting the ball back after we just turned it over.
Thanks, Gus.